I feel like I've talked a lot about like stupid people and stupid decisions that piss me off in horror movies, but I don't talk enough about the good people and the smart people. Fair warning, there might be some spoilers in this, I guess. First thing that comes to mind when I think about the 10 best decisions made in horror movies is Chris putting the cotton in his ears from Get Out. My fucking shit. The first time I ever saw this, I was so astounded and just like my jaw dropped to the floor at how much of a good decision that was and how smart that was. Not to mention, obviously, this is a Jordan Peele movie. He's all about the symbolism and like the meaning of this and like the symbolism of it being cotton and obviously it being a movie on racism and it ends up saving his fucking life. As a whole, love this movie. Love Chris. Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs, switching places with the cop that he killed. Literally using his face to get put in an ambulance and taken out of the fucking establishment. That's another one. Like the first time you see it, it's so shocking and so mind-boggling. Pretty much every decision that Aaron made in You're Next, like there's really not one I can pinpoint, just the night and the events of this movie as a whole. And I really do believe that Aaron is like the smartest person in horror cinema and like the smartest final girl there is. Speaking of final girls, though, I obviously got to give props to Sidney Prescott, my favorite final girl. Like Aaron, Sidney makes a lot of good decisions, but my personal favorite is in Scream 2 when she uses Derek's necklace to distract Mickey, and also when she goes back and double taps that bitch Debbie Salt. Another one of my favorites is Peter Strahm in Saw 5. He is literally put in an inescapable trap and left to die, but manages to live because he gives himself a makeshift tracheotomy. Like, who the fuck would even think of doing that? Behind the Cotton and Get Out, this actually might be my favorite one on this list. But I also need to add Hoffman from Saw 6 being able to get out of the reverse bear trap that he's not supposed to be able to get out of. Like using the device to break your wrists to get out of your restraints and then just like happening to see this and in the nick of time put it in the window. Incredible. So fucking smart, and it just like makes you not be able to not root for Hoffman. Kate Siegel's character Maddie in Hush. I love this movie overall, but I especially love how she uses her disability and like her being deaf to get a leg up on the killer, and ultimately it's what saves her life. Like really everything that she does in the movie, but specifically that part with the alarm. Elizabeth Moss's character in the 2020 The Invisible Man and what she does at the end. She plans this so fucking perfectly, like down to exactly where she knows the camera angles are. Like this is one where the movie ends and you give this woman a standing ovation because she fucking deserves it. I rewatched Hard Candy recently, and like this is another one where I say all the decisions that Haley made in it. Like no matter what he did, she was always 10 steps ahead. She was so smart in this movie. And not to mention the ending where he's like, if you spare me, I'll give you the name of the other guy. And she looks at him and is like, I already know Aaron's name and he's already dead. What? Mind blowing. Finally, another final girl. I really hate, unfortunately, the way that the Halloween, like, recent trilogy ended. I still love Halloween 2018, and my favorite moment in this movie is when Karen pretends to be, like, scared and helpless in the basement, and by doing that, she lures Michael in, and then Laurie is in the darkness behind him, which, like, reverses the roles from the original 78 Halloween. Oh my fucking god. Chef's kiss. We sure do. So much so that I'm making a part 2 of this because you guys mentioned some great ones in my comments, and I've thought of a bunch more too. The one I saw the most in the comments of my last video was Margot ordering the cheeseburger from the menu, and I can't fucking believe I forgot this one because this is such a badass moment. Like, my girl got creative and it saved her ass. I just rewatched all the Insidious movies for my podcast, and there is a moment in Insidious 2 that I completely forgot about, but I love so much. It's when the crew goes to Parker Crane's abandoned house, and Specs and Tucker go in Parker Crane's bedroom, and they see the little kid sitting on the bed. And the little kid says, if she finds you, she'll kill you, talking about his mother. And Specs and Tucker look at each other, and you can tell there's like this unspoken moment between them, and they both agree on the same thing, and they just walk the fuck out. They leave. They just go. I think it's so funny and so perfect. And sometimes in horror, that's the best decision that you can make. Just fucking leave. A lot of people said this one in the comments too, and I totally agree. The boyfriend in Lights Out, specifically when he's being held up by the creature and he takes his keys and beeps his horn so the headlights flash and it drops him. And on top of that, he then goes and gets the cops and physically brings them back to the house. 10 out of 10. Crystal from The Hunt. This is one like Erin where all of the decisions that she makes are great. My personal favorite is when she gets in the car with that dude who is pretending to be like one of the good guys. But she immediately knows that something's up with this guy and she doesn't even fucking hesitate. She just knocks his ass out. Badass. Love her. On the same caliber as the two of them is Grace from Ready or Not. A lot of people were saying her too, and I totally agree. Like I said about Erin and You're Next, there's not really one specific moment that I can pinpoint with Grace. Every decision she made was great. My boy Arkin in the Collector movies. And he's another one. In both movies, I think every decision he makes is super smart. My personal favorite, though, is at the end of the collection when he fucking hunts this motherfucker down. Like the way he narrows it down, the way he's got the chest set up for him already. This one's a twofer because I also have Elena from the collection when she smashes all the tanks with the water, which puts the fire out and saves Arkin's ass. Brilliant. This one is kind of similar to the Insidious one, Joel from Scream 2, when he just straight up leaves. He literally gives Gale all of the equipment and is like, I'm black, we never do well in horror movies, like I gotta fucking go. And it works, he lives to tell the tale. This one's a classic, and I do think this is brilliant. Danny from The Shining backtracking in his footsteps so his dad doesn't know where he is. Like, this one is honestly iconic. Danny's a fucking king. I didn't see anybody see this one in the comments, but I don't think that we as a people give Sally Hardesty enough credit for jumping out the fucking window in Texas Chainsaw. I love this so much because it completely like subverts your expectations, right? Because that whole trope of like she should be going out the front door but she's running up the stairs. This bitch is like, I'm not gonna do either of those things. I'm gonna jump out the fucking window. Like, I'll take my chances breaking a limb, but I'm fucking out of here, brother. Love her. Love it. This might be one of my favorites. I can't believe I didn't include this in the first one. And finally, another one I saw a couple people say, Alex from Final Destination intervening when Carter is stuck on the train tracks because he knows he can't die yet. Brilliant and ballsy as fuck. Alex deserves so much better than an off-screen in-between movie death.